Hello everyone, today we will take a look at a science fiction movie called Europa Report about a crew heading to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, in order to find out if there is life in the oceans under its layers of ice. It is a story filled with mystery, space exploration, but also sacrifice and heroism at the same time. Spoilers ahead. If you enjoy this summary, make sure to subscribe for more. The film opens up with a screen informing us that the Europa 1 mission was the first mission to send humans into deep space. In the following scenes we meet the crew of the mission, the first one being James, an engineer, sending video recordings to his family about the trip. William Shu, the captain of the mission, discussing whether they will find life on Europe with Andrei, the Russian chief engineer who is also playing chess with Katya, one of the scientists on the ship. Rosa, the pilot, is checking some data and discussing with mission control about incoming radiations and asking Daniel, the chief engineer, for help. We are then made to realize that what we were seeing were the last recordings of the mission that Earth received at that time, and that something had gone wrong with the mission. The scene changes to the crew, which is now looking really depressed and are told that James somehow died. There is no way to inform his family or mission control as their communication system is damaged. We will later on find out why James passed away, but for the moment we can see that his death really affected the crew, as they become increasingly depressed and wondering if what they are doing is right. The most affected is Andrei, who becomes increasingly distanced from everyone else. We then shift to 19 months ago, and are shown how things were at the beginning of the mission, everyone being cheerful and happy around the goofy attitude of James. Everyone is spending time together, eating, working, exercising and joking around. The scene changes again to the present moment, where Captain William Shu and Daniel are discussing whether it is safe to leave Andrei on the main ship alone, while they descend on Europa. But due to his mental instability, they choose that they should all go together on the surface of Europa. They begin their descent towards the moon, which goes smooth at first, but as soon as they get close to the surface, they encounter strong hydrothermal vents which push the ship 100 meters from their original landing site. Once on the surface of Europa, they are astonished at how beautiful the place is and how incredible it is that they have gotten this far. However, they soon find out that because they did not land at the original site, they cannot get good data from the surface and have to start digging under Europa's ice, in order to get it directly from the water. While they are waiting for the drilling to finish, at night, Andrei looks through the outside window and sees a flashing orb of light that quickly disappears. He immediately goes and informs the team of what he has seen. The team listen to his story, look for proof on the cameras and see some radiation interference exactly when Andrei saw the light. But at the same time, they also question whether Andrei really saw something and is not just losing his mind. In the morning, the drilling is finally finished. They activate the drone and begin to look under the ice. They are amazed by the view, but this feeling suddenly changes as they begin to see powerful radiations. The radiations are not coming from the surface, but rather from under the ice, which baffles the team. They begin to look with the drone downwards, into the abyss. At some point they see a small flashing light. They go after it, only to suddenly get jump-scared by an even brighter light, which makes them lose control of the drone. With the drone gone, they have no way to get the data they need, and Katya suggests she goes out to manually take samples from the original site, since it is only 100 meters away. But the other crew members question this, as the radiation outside is really dangerous for the human body. They begin to fight over the issue. Once again the scene changes to a few months ago, before James' death, exactly when they lost communication with mission control due to a solar flare. James and Andrei choose to suit up, and go outside the ship to check the damage. They get to the communication panel, which is totally fried, and want to take the pins out to check it more closely. The last pin is not getting off because it is frozen. William tells them to leave the panel as it is, but Andrei suggests they need to open it. James is not sure about it, but Andrei is adamant that they should just force it. He does this and is flung away by the panel, which also cuts his suit and makes him lose oxygen at a rapid pace. James helps him towards the ship while Andrei begins to faint due to low oxygen. They get to the ship's entrance, but before they can both get in, Andrei tells James not to go in because he has hydrazine on his suit, which will contaminate the entire ship if it gets inside, and make the air toxic. They have no way to decontaminate him, and William argues against bringing him inside the ship. Everyone hesitates for some time, not knowing what to do. Andrei says that he will pull James out of the suit and into the ship, but he faints due to low oxygen. James makes the choice to push Andrei in the ship, saving his life, while the crew closes the lock, leaving James outside. Because James somehow got disconnected from the cable holding him onto the ship, he begins to drift away, realizing that he is going to die. He continues to speak with the team while he is drifting away, and lets everyone know that it was not their fault, it was an accident. He begs them to tell his son that he loves him, and thought he was doing something worth for mankind. After that, the team loses contact with James. Andre wakes up from his faint, realizing that James died because of him, and begins to cry and shout in anguish. Once again, the scene is shifted to the present moment, where they discuss the issue about Katya going outside the ship, to manually collect the samples they need. They choose to vote, William and Andre being against this plan, while Katya and Daniel want to go through with this. The last to vote is Rosa, who is not sure what is the correct thing to do, but in the end votes for this idea. Katya begins to suit up, and soon leaves the ship and steps on Europa's surface. She is once again amazed by the view, and the fact that she is the first human to step on this moon. She soon reaches the original landing point, and begins to collect samples. After a few samples they are unable to find anything. However, with the last sample they finally find evidence of extraterrestrial life. They find a unicellular organism, something akin to an algae, which amazes all of them. The crew tells Katya to get back into the ship, as she has been outside for 70 minutes. But she sees a light in the distance, and starts going towards it to investigate. She gets really close to the source of the light, and believes this is what Andre saw. She turns off her lights to see if the light will react to this. The crew warns her that radiation levels are increasing to dangerous levels. The light also begins to move under the ice. Katya begins to panic as the ice is not stable. After a few seconds of this, the crew loses communication with her. Everyone watches the monitor of Katya's position, and soon realize that she is moving deeper and deeper under the ice, thus, making them understand that she is gone. Once again, the crew's morale sinks, and they decide they should leave as quickly as they can. They begin the launch, but have problems due to the hydrothermal vents on the moon, and lose control of the ship. The ship is about to crash, and William unfastens his seatbelt in order to release the radiation shielding, which can somewhat slow the ship's descent. However, once the ship makes impact with the ground, William is flung across the ship and instantly killed. The remaining crew wakes up, and realizes that William saved them all, but died because of that. Ironically, the ship crashed exactly on the initial wanted landing point. However, due to the crash, they are losing oxygen and heat. Daniel loses all hope that they will survive when he realizes that the ice under the ship is cracking, and will soon break and send the ship into the depths. Andre is still working to find a solution for their situation, believing that he can get them out of there. The fix he is suggesting needs to be done outside the ship by him and Daniel, while Rosa needs to help them from inside the ship. Rosa begins to make a recording describing what has happened so far, just in case none of them survive, saying that one day humanity will see this. Andre and Daniel get out of the ship to fix it. The radiation they register is dangerously high. Daniel makes the first step on the ice, and the ice instantly shatters. Daniel vanishes from their sight, and they lose any communication with him. Andre tells Rosa that without Daniel there is no way to fix the ship anymore. However, he insists that they can still do one more thing. Fix the communication system by scrapping the life support system, essentially dooming them, but at least making sure that Earth finds out what happened to them. Rosa agrees and begins to prepare the data to be transmitted back to Earth. Andre steps outside the ship, and faces dangerous radiation levels, as well as multiple lights surrounding him. He manages to get to the communication panel and fixes it, just before he is also dragged under the ice. Rosa, now the only one alive, finishes preparing the data, just as the ship begins to sink into Europa's ocean. She gets into her seat, and does the unthinkable. Knowing these are her final moments, she opens the ship's hatch, which makes the water flow into the ship. As water is pouring in, she also sees a big silhouette with a light on it enter the ship, which turns out to be the extraterrestrial being that has hunted them. The creature quickly closes into Rosa, which allows the camera to clearly see its shape. In the final scene we are explained by the mission control that they received all the footage of the crew of everything that happened, recognizing the heroism of the astronauts. Choosing until their last breath to show Earth what lies in Europa's oceans, even if it costs them their lives. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification to watch more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.